Oh, welcome back, everyone. Honestly, there was a good chunk of time that I didn't think that we were going to get to do this halftime show, and what a way to end out that game. So hopefully we can help make the time go by a little faster until we get into our game 3 between Fear and TSMA. And for this, we are going to do a round of PG Presents. So what this is going to be is I have made a slideshow for each of the casters and for Veteran as well, and I'm going to give you a prompt. You have to give a well-executed, hype presentation that makes us believe what you are saying and hype us up getting into this next match. Everyone understand?
Yeah.
Rafa?
All ready to go.
Make sure you're with us, bud, because you're going first. You're the only one that's played this.
Damn it. All right.
So you're
Understandable.
gonna be the example child and hopefully not the problem child in this, all right?
I am always the guinea pig in these situations. It's okay. Hit me. Let's go.
All right. I'm sorry. All right. So your prompt is why Sketch is the best.
Oh, I can easily.
You got this.
Let's
and
go.
I'm going to apologize in advance if the word prompts and the prompts I'm giving you don't necessarily line up. I was too busy watching a banger of a match and
Understandable, queen. Just get whatever you can in, and I will make do with it.
All right. Well, we'll see how this goes down. All right. You ready, Rafa?
Yes, ma'am. Let's go.
All right.
All right. Why Brady, aka Sketch, is the best. First of all, anytime you see Sketch play, you're going to hear Veteran yelling off stream because he is just going absolutely ballistic because of how cracked this guy is. He is absolutely phenomenal. And when you see him popping on the hunt on Sivir, he is just zooming, baby. He is absolutely zooming like a kid on a Razor scooter. It is just so incredibly fast. For Brady and Sketch, he has gone through a long, tumultuous journey. He played on AoE last year, where he was Sketch Dreams, but no longer he needs to name himself Sketch Dreams because he's already making dreams come true off of Dragon Steals, off of base defenses, off of just being an absolutely cracked Giga Chad. Sketch knows that he has his scopes lined up like a kitty watching you, waiting for a crumb of food to fall off the table. He is ready to take TSM out of the Proving Grounds bracket and advance forward in the tournament. We're not going to mention that because he never throws the lead. That is everyone else's fault. Sketch never throws the lead. He never dies. He didn't die a single time that game. It wasn't his fault. He held the ground for the rest of Cincinnati Fear. By the time he hit 6 items, he was smacking everybody's cheeks like Smack's hide on the broadcast the last time. It is just that damn easy for Sketch. Thank you.
I don't know if I want to go anymore. How am I going to top that? That was good.
I loved the pause right at the end there. I was a little slow on the draw as well, but the pause made it
You know, Oh, we have the Pluck Suite. Show the Pluck Suite. I saw this during the break. Look at this banger, guys. Oh my god. Talk to him, Plucks. Talk to him.
Oh man.
Is it a sub angle? Is that what's happening?
That would be crazy.
It's respectable.
Crazy.
Respectable and poetic.
True.
All right. Well, poetic is hopefully what we're gonna see coming out of our next presentation. This one is gonna go to you, Beatdown. Went in the wrong way.
Can I sit down for this? I wanna get a front row seat.
Oh my god.
Get the popcorn. All right. Goodbye, Rafa. I hope that's comfortable. All right, I gave you, and I decided to be nice and be, go easy on you for this one. So your presentation is why Fear is gonna win the series and make this lower bracket run. Okay?
All right, no problem. So I gotta wait for your pictures to pop up, right?
Yeah, we'll do like a prompt and just
Okay, just making sure. Cool.
Yeah.
All right, Cincinnati Fear. Of course they're going to win the series. You saw the kind of mental fortitude it takes to be able to come back like that. Canadian buff coming through, of course. I can't remember who on Cincinnati Fear is Canadian, but so many people in NA Amateur are. It astounds me every day, but the maple syrup in our blood makes it happen. That's the sound that Dragoon makes when he sees the fight angle coming through on the ore, and he just yells, "It's go time, baby!" That's why they're going to win this series. That's why they're going to make the lower bracket run. And last and certainly not least, it's to make Rafa wrong. And I want you, all the other broadcast talent, and everyone in chat here, isn't that what it's all about? Are we not trying to captain our own ships of making Rafa wrong?
Ooh. What the hell is this?
I am. Amateur wins PG. There's nothing else to say. We've sold it.
All right, well, you have one more thing to say. But,
L to every other team that Cincinnati Fear plays. L to TSM. L to you. L to your cows. Whatever, man. It's over.
Oh my god.
Thank you.
I like the trying to end the presentation. There's still more.
That presentation was really
It
good
was
and
the
had my
PS, you
attention
know?
until I saw the slide Rafa being wrong. Then I felt personally attacked, and I didn't like it.
I'm sorry.
It's
No,
what
I'm
it's
just
all
kidding.
about.
What else do you want me to say?
You pick the
right.
sides.
Who wins? That's what I want you to say.
All right, well, we're going to ask Veteran who wins. Veteran, you understand the game? Are you all ready?
Yeah.
So
yeah,
not
I'm
only
ready,
that,
I'm ready.
it is, I'm going to ask you to take a stand for this one. It is why the winner of this game is going to go on to win Proving Grounds.
Why the winner of this game is going to go on
This
to Improving
game.
Grounds. Okay.
Yep.
Right. Okay.
Yep. Ready?
Based on your prompts, I'm as ready as
Yep.
I'm gonna be. I'm as ready as I'm gonna be. I have some. Oh, I mean, come on. I mean, if anybody is going to be able to pull this off, it's gonna be in this game. There has been trading non-stop in the bot lane. We've seen Lucian, Nami, we've seen Sivir, we've seen so much stuff that wants to get in the fight, and Yuumi is good with all of that, and good with all the champions that go with him. Good with Dion's good with everything. So Yumi's gonna get in there, and they're gonna fight like men. Right? That's Yuumi right there, bouncing off of her ally right there. Just like anybody here is gonna bounce off of this victory into a win streak, into the end, into winning the entire goddamn tournament. All right?
Okay.
You're gonna be jumping out of your beds for this one, ganking junglers all around. Even if these guys are farming, they're ganking. You know why? Because if you're fighting, you're not farming, which means the game's extending, and the game's extending, you're gonna scale. So they gank on their farming junglers as well. That pineapple's really goddamn cool, and these teams are really cool as well. You know why? Because they're coming straight back into a third game. All right? They love the bitter taste of defeat for one team and the sweet taste of victory for the other. And is there a curse here? Is there academy curses? Oh, there's always Academy curses while Rapper is casting and missing the beeper, and there's going to be a lot more cursing in the next Academy game. I'm telling you, because it's game 3, World Time, we can't hit it, and where there's cursing, there's a goddamn Draven player. You want to talk about Draven? Sketch has already brought this bad boy out. Alright, you're gonna get the absolute best of solo queue in the next game. This is the guy you don't want to be up against when it's your promos, and the guy you absolutely do want to be on when it is yours. Thank you, guys. Thank you so much.
Let's go.
Beautiful. Honestly, astounding. That was, honestly, consider you've never played the game. Both you and Beatdown never played the game before. Came out here, absolutely slayed. Awesome. Beatdown, I'm proud of you.
Thank you. Thank you. Oh God.
I mean, I brought the cat out. I'm just saying. Alright? The cat knows.
True.
You brought the cat out. The
Yeah,
cat butt.
there you go. There's
True.
you.
That's
Real
some
recognize
pretty
real
good
right
points in
there.
your
Real
favor.
recognize.
True.
Real recognize real. Well, we're about to find out who's the realest of them all as we're ready to head back into game 3. TSMA going up against Fear. See you in a bit.
Woo! We got the timing down on the punch, too.
I love it.
All right. TSM Academy taking to the blue side once again. Now this time, it could be their last because Cincinnati Fear already dealt with that fear in Game 2.
Nice.
They overcame it. They endured it, and they overcame TSM in their own base as well. So now we're on series point, and with what TSM Academy just witnessed from Cincinnati Fear's playbook, what priorities do they shift up here?
I think for TSM Academy's side, I think the Wukong priority makes a lot of sense. And I like in particular that they banned away the Trundle, not necessarily going for the Sivir itself or anything like that, because I think Trickster, especially before Sketch really came online, some of the plays that came through was really him making great use of that Pillar of Ice combined with Dragoon and that Call of the Forge God there. So I think that takeaway is smart. It did allow Trickster to be able to kind of slow down the early game, even though TSM were finding advantages. So now we gotta have a different jungler come through for the side of Cincinnati Fear, but we're not even thinking about that. Sivir is still up, but Sketch says, give me the Aphelios, and you know what? I've seen this guy on a lot of teams, and even when it was the Jinx Aphelios handshake, he did always prefer this champion. So getting comfort in Game 3 is something you like to see.
You know, if Lucian has been taken off the board, this gives him... Wow. Okay, so not only Sketch is locking up the Aphelios, but this is a Lilia being picked up by Trickster here. So it's not the Trundle matchup, but, you know, it's something that Veteran said, take the advantage of being able to farm in this matchup against Wukong, because Wukong, the clear speed has been touched down a bit. You no longer ramp up as fast as other champions on the Rift anymore, combined with your engaged power, combined with your skirmishing power. This is where Lilia can find an advantage this time.
Yeah, and right on the other side, for TSM Academy, they take the Sivir Lulu themselves. I'm kind of surprised it's not the Sivir Yumi, just because of how strong that is. But I mean, we saw Plux was making good use of the wild growth, shielding, whimsy, everything like that. And like expected, an AP jungler comes in AD mid, and it's looking like Yone might be the thoughts here. Blaze, a player who we usually say mages are where it's at for this guy. Actually, I remember in the PGCQ that they won as no team, we were talking about how, okay, he can also play the ADs apparently, because he had a banging Yone performance that I love that he's bringing out here today.
And Cincinnati Fear recognizing that they don't want their AD mids options being banned out in the second phase of the drafts, because once this AP jungler is locked in, you need to make sure that the damage profile is dispersed evenly so that you only have one source of magic damage coming from the jungle. And Dragoon has plenty of options, whereas Blaze, it's minimal. So now they're limiting what counter picks are available for Takeover, LeBlanc being one of them. But TSM Academy recognizing that, hey, yeah, Soul was massively ahead of Dragoon. Didn't matter because he was playing Ornn.
Right, and that's the thing too. You pick the mid laner and you risk Ornn being taken away just like that. So Dragoon will have to go a different route here. We could see, honestly, even though it hasn't popped up often, Sion is something to be thinking about here, just because of how tanky he can get and how good of a frontliner I think he can be. Just something safe for Dragoon, because you have the Aphelios coming through here for Sketch. So I mean, at this point, with the farming jungler and everything like that in Lilia, you want to be playing for this bottom side of the map. And when Cincinnati Fear find a lot of their success, it has been playing for Sketch.
How do Cincinnati Fear continue to empower this bot lane? Plux has a couple of support options. You already talked about a tank option for Dragoon in the top lane. Whoa. And Rel being locked in here. Okay. All right. Well, you know what? Cardinal Sin once again strikes us. But it's the Ashe. And so when it comes to engage power, now you have plenty of supply. You have Crystal Enchanted Arrows. You have the Lilting Lullaby. You have Fate Sealed from Blaze. Dragoon doesn't necessarily have to be on engage duty anymore.
Right, but the J4, actually, I guess with the Wukong already locked in, you probably don't want to shift that one in the top lane blind. So instead, you're just going to give Takeover the Azir, which is interesting because that's supposed to be a good matchup for Yone. But overall, you still give yourself a lot of scaling, late game damage, team fight potential with that Emperor's Divide, so that you can potentially disengage with everything Cincinnati Fear are going to try to do. Because like you said, Lilting Lullaby, Fate Sealed, Enchanted Crystal Arrow, Cincinnati Fear are going to be throwing everything at these guys. So any opportunity to break up the fight, slow things down, I think is much welcomed. And I mean, another example of that is the Gragas, who tends to be in the top as a top laner, pretty safe and able to be fine in a lot of matchups. That exploding cast, though, I think is the big hot takeaway from this one, because another way you can break up the fight and also start them off if you want to is with that ultimate.
Yeah, you have a lot of flexibility with that tool from Gragas, and I think that is the interesting conundrum we find ourselves in. Mordekaiser for Dragoon. I mean, this is something that he has played many times. I did not imagine for him to reach down into this side of the damage profile, because now this makes the top side of the map, at least for Dragoon and Trickster, very magic damage heavy. But for Cincinnati Fear, if Dragoon is isolated on the matchup, I mean, this is one of those champions where we talked about like things like Darius, Alawi, even Mordekaiser as well. These are champions that should on paper do fine, not only in the 1v1, but also in the 1v2.
Increasing the value of merch, you're probably going to see a lot of it regardless, because things like that. You're right. You give the Mordekaiser go for the 1v1 and get in a situation where he's going to be able to get ahead and start to have an impact in these team fights later on.
Yeah.
I think Dragoon does have a lot of carry potential here, and again, really flexing that interesting champ pool.
One of the things that we can see how Cincinnati Fear play around now is their ability to not only once again endure the early stages of the game, but the fact that they know they're no longer under as much threat in the early game because TSM have doubled down on the scaling components this time around. So we're going to see how this all plays out. This is series point on both teams. Tournament lifelines on the line. One team is going home tonight, and neither team wants to be the one that ends their tournament runs here.
No, they don't, Mark. And here we go. Both teams laying it all on the line. One of them will have their last Proving Grounds game here in 2022. TSM with this level 1 really want to make sure that is not them, Rafa. But so far, you talked about it already. TSM, with their draft, looking for a lot more scaling into the late game. And Fear, I mean, they also have some late game tools. Aphelios is good. Mord, Lilia, and if Blaze plays the Yone well as time goes on, he's going to be very impactful in team fights. But they have a little more early game agency, I think, especially towards that bot side being double ranged. And once you come level 6, you have Plux's ultimate. So I'm expecting to see Fear as that bottom side. Sketch, who has Ghost, which I think is kind of cool.
Yeah, I mean, we've seen a couple of Sivers run Ghost Flash as well, and
It's true.
outside the normal laning phase, if you get out of laning phase and you don't have to rely on things like exhaust for any threats diving you in the backline, or something like a heal to give just immediate support or even barrier, then I think Ghost is actually a really cool summoner spell, because Ghost just feels so damn good when you're playing a marksman that doesn't really have any mobility spells, because outside of Gale Force, Sketch will not be able to move out of harm's way if his flash is on cooldown. So we're going to be checking in to see how well Sketch can make use of this summoner spell, as it's something that we don't commonly see, but it's kind of just popping up more of a trend recently. As we take a look on the top side of the map, Trickster already evaporating most of his camps on the top side, as he has gone Raptors, Krugs, and then we'll look to start up his red buff, whereas Anda, being spotted on a ward just before it expired, is pathing towards the bottom side of the map. They know how important it is to make sure that Tactical and Mia are protected and preventing Sketch's snowball. All right, just making sure. We have lost Beatdown for a bit, so
nope,
just solo casting and
back.
chilling. Oh, Beatdown's back?
Beatdown is back.
Okay. All right. All right, Beatdown, get back in here. We're talking about early game. Junglers have already made their way. Anda taking a little bit of an aggressive path finds Trickster at his blue buff, and he's trying to use Mia and Tactical's priority to push Trickster off the wave, getting the flash out, ignite from Mia as well. That's first blood for Anda, but Sketch and Plux, can they rout off Anda before Tactical gets back in range? They do it successfully. TSM are taking control of the early game. The blue buff goes over the way of Anda. Blaze looking forward. He has the soul unbound, but he tries to go onto range and Anda, and he can't quite close the distance. TSM not dropping a single member, and Fear have blown so many tools, so many summoner spells for it.
Not only that, Fear have blown it all for nothing, Mark. So much resources taken off of the map, and not only is Anda's invade successful, it is incredibly so. As now Trickster is going to just pretty much stumble his way to the top lane and pick up the Scuttle Crab, and it isn't going to do much to stop what we just saw here. And you saw the invade comes through. Trickster, knowing he has his bot lane to come help, thinks that he could go in, but Mia, first move. You have that Mia moving first was such a big impactful part of this. That ignite made it so that Trickster really never had a chance.
Press the attack, not going to even be enough for Sketch, as just not enough damage onto Anda this early into the game. Trickster now feeling the pressure and falling into the trap of junglers, getting out-farmed, getting outpaced, especially in a matchup where you have the clear speed available. TSM finding him, trying to make that invade on the top quadrant, pushing him out, and now Anda, knowing that he has tempo, he has the timer to take away more camps away from Trickster and pushing him further behind.
And it's that play from earlier, Mark. Blaze lost so much health that he isn't able to actually help Trickster and do anything about this Raptor being taken out of the picture. Plux showing up means he doesn't have to recall yet, but pretty soon we're going to see Blaze use that teleport to be able to just come back to lane after he spends some gold here. But so far, already in the deciding game in this series, TSM Academy have taken full control here. One of the kills is on Mia, sure, but one of them is also on Anda.
Gold evenly split up between the jungler and the support. I know, can't shy away from it. It's not always the greatest feeling when the gold is on the support role, but with Anda having such a big lead already, a solid 600 gold at 5 minutes into the game will give him an earlier completion of that mythic, most likely a Divine Sunderer, if Anda makes great use of that and just puts the pressure down at the level 6 mark with Cyclone. Cincinnati Fear, their whole game plan can fall apart.
That's right. I mean, level 6, they have some pretty formidable fighting power on their own as well, but it's tough early on. Now, they still probably want to try and make a play for that Rift Herald in a couple of minutes here, because if you lose that one over to TSM Academy and they're able to use that to snowball hard, this isn't a draft that I think Cincinnati Fear can mount a comeback like we saw in game 2 here. So Fear are going to need to slow the game down very, very soon, because, oh, Trickster.
Trickster getting over the wall with the Blast Cone, having isolated Mia. Still no flash available, but they have to play around Tactical. They have to play around Anda, and no ultimates available. Trickster still very squishy and not much damage to really supply that engage off the back end. Something you mentioned, Beatdown, is that Cincinnati Fear, they don't have the wave clear to stall the game as long out, and I think you can see the desperation made in that play.
Yeah, it's not just the wave clear, the team fight potential, the ability to front to back isn't quite like what it was for Fear in game 2, and we're seeing some of these game 1 issues again from the squad, Mark, the impatience. Because this game, even now, is by no means doomed. It is not GG, well played, goodbye Cincinnati Fear. They have ways to get back into this one. Again, playing for level 6, especially for Trickster, who is falling behind in Golden XP, and trying to use the team fighting power your mid-jungle duo has. But if you keep making plays like that, Mark, it's going to be like game 1 all over again.
And TSM Academy are very much in the comfort zone right now, where I feel like after that super long game 2, there was a talk in the back room, and TSM Academy just said, okay, guys, you know what? Game 2, whatever, it happens. We picked an early game composition. We didn't get the chance to close out. They had Sivir. Wave clears obnoxious. It happens. Let's move on. We now have the Sivir. We have the Azir. We've doubled down on our wave clear and our late game, so we don't feel pressure to push the game tempo early on into the game. And if we, for some reason, fall behind, we have tactics. We have insurance to make the game just as long as for us. The fact that they're leading the tempo right now puts them in a comfortable state.
It does. And I think it puts a lot of pressure on the top side too. In this game 3 scenario, Dragoon picked the Mordekaiser. Which is definitely not one of the more common picks we see in terms of the top lane meta. Has been farming pretty well so far. Not a whole lot of action on that top side, but he is a spot that we're looking for on Cincinnati Fear to be able to make something happen here. If he gets a lead, if he's able to use the Death Realm effectively in one neutral objective fight, that could be the start of Fear getting themselves back into this one.
Already, TSM making great pressure advantage of not only the winning lane mid with Takeover, but also the pressure mounted on the top side of the map. This is a free Rift Herald. Trickster and Plux, though, looking for an opportunity to catch out Mia. Mia still has Flash, and because there's no engage available from Trickster or Plux that they want to use, and Takeover swooping on in. I don't think he wants to take the full-on shuffle. Blaze is there just to zone them off from any engage potential, but the Rift Herald has already been secured for TSM. And now the question is, beat down, where do they drop it?
Realistically, you have a pretty solid advantage going for you in the bot side, and the fact that Sketch still doesn't have Flash and Onda has reached level 6, I think makes that the best place, Mark. The fact is, with this wave starting to, which is going to bounce back pretty soon, you could set up a dive, or if you get a good opportunity, Enda could just easily W Flash into the Cyclone. And once you take Sketch out of the picture, those plates are as good as TSM Academies.
Plux is not level 6 either, so Sketch would not have any way to bail him out. Takeover, though, great vision ward. Spots out Trickster despite trying to sneak through the cone of Fog of War, but waits in the wings. Just gonna go for the recall instead. The timer's already gone. And Dragoon has initiated the Death Realm versus against Soul. Flashing the explosive cast so that the cast puts him right on top of Soul. Flashing away, waiting until the Death Realm expired, looking for the body slam, and he gets out alive.
Nicely played from Soul in the top lane there, being able to, I mean, just neutralize this Mordekaiser. That's what you're looking to do when you pick something like the Gragas. And this is something, again, Soul has been playing more of this style so far since he's come back to TSM Academy side. Something he's very comfortable on, even something he did a lot when he played for Immortals AOE at the beginning of the year. It's nice to see still able to consistently put out performances like that.
Yeah, Dragoon starting to pull ahead of the matchup slightly, but making sure to minimize losses here in the lane. Yes, he loses on CS, but he doesn't go down in the 1v1. And meanwhile, during that time, Anda is able to give plates over to Tactical and Mia. And so I want to check in on the gold lead, see where Tactical is sitting at. Right now, solid 600 gold. It's not, you know, as we said, game-changing. It's not GG for the side of Cincinnati Fear, but this is how TSM gets the pull ahead of the enemy squad.
Right, and level 6 is what I'm looking at now. Specifically for the supports of this bottom lane, because now once Plux gets that Enchanted Crystal Arrow, that's the big team fight tool. We highlighted in Champ Select, Mark, that ability to start fights out at range, set up picks very, very well, and you have so much CC you can follow it up with. That's the big thing. So once Plux has access to that, we'll see what he'll be able to do with it. A player who we highlighted, usually very good when it comes to engaged supports, but that's more on things like the Rakan, like we saw previously. Not so much playtime on the Ashe, but serves a similar function, so we'll see if he can perform the same.
Thing you'll have to watch out for is when Tactical Spell Shield is available, because it would be quite unfortunate to throw out the ultimate and then it get canceled. The TSM just making sure that they have their defensive utility spells used at the right time. Whereas Cincinnati Fear, they're taking a backseat. As we mentioned before, Trickster, because he was somewhat decelerated in the early game, just took the time to not be as active on the map, trying to ramp up and farm. And to his credit, he has been able to get Oh, man, but it's TSM that looked for the re-engage, but a flash away from Plux allows him to reposition, but it's the clone that intercepts the enchanted arrow, and not even the Fade Seal gets takeover down, but Sketch joins the party. He looks for the Moonlight Vigil, but a polymorph from Mia silences him. The Ignite ticks down. Both he and Plux fall.
And that's huge. What a nice angle. TSM taking advantage of a timer that they were expecting from Cincinnati Fear. They knew Trickster was in the area, and as soon as he walked by, they took him all the way down, and they're looking for more.
As soon as Takeover gets himself right on top of Blaze, Mia pops the Wild Growth for a little bit of that extra engage knockup. Blaze forced to use the flash to get out of harm's way. Gonna have to recall for this one. All that time, the deaths that they were able to amount onto Fear gives Tactical not only more gold in his pocket, but also solo one-on-one time with the turret. That's first brick for TSM, and this is probably their most convincing lead we have seen all series beat down.
And first brick on the Sivir. Champ, we highlighted, we saw in game 2, Mark, as the late game monster just got a buttload of gold into his pocket in the hands of Tactical. And I mean, to be fair,
load. An absolute
yeah,
unit's worth.
A chest's worth of Pirate's gold. I don't even know what I'm trying to say anymore, but you get the idea, Mark. That
I was
a
rolling
lot
with
of
it.
gold. Oh, okay, I like it, I like it. And this,
I got
this is
you.
the hands of Tactical, too. Going into the series, I figured this would be a big test for Sketch and Flux. We're going to hold that thought as we see the replay again. Vision game. So good from TSM Academy. They know when they have the timer to go on these plays, and they play them out just well. They don't lose anyone in the process. Sketch, bless him, he tried to make something happen here, but Whimsy is just too strong, and it made it so easy for the rest of TSM to take it down.
Cincinnati Fear starting to fear that the lead that TSM are mounting is slowly extending far beyond their reach. Takeover now on the top side of the map. Dragoon and Plux waiting for a potential pick, but Mia is hovering around, making sure that the mid laner is well checked and accounted for. Despite 4 members being allotted towards the top side of the map, no play will be made on to Takeover. And now for TSM, let's take stock of what advantages they have. Not only 5,000 gold lead, 2 dragons to the name, it's an Infernal Soul Game 2 beatdown. So just to add more insult to injury for the side of Cincinnati Fear, now players like Takeover and Tactical, who are going to be doing incredible amounts of damage, more than likely Soul, because it seems like he is not going for the tank build, but just an AP burst build with the Everfrost and the tier, more than likely going to be Seraph's Embrace. That is a lot of damage just being chucked your way if you're Cincinnati Fear.
Absolutely. And the fact that this gold lead just makes it that much worse, Mark. The point is, you're playing for picks. You have to try and utilize that Enchanted Crystal Arrow to see if you can find the pick off. Fear did a lot of that towards the back half of game 2, and that was how they managed to catch themselves back up, Rafa. But this is going to be really tough for them to be able to capitalize, because not a lot of CC is really there. They have CC when you think about ults like Lilting Lullaby, Fate Sealed, but the big thing to start it off is that Enchanted Crystal Arrow, and you highlighted it. You throw it on Tactical, he's going to spell shield. So you have to pick someone off, but aiming for Tactical is risky, and when you're this far behind, I don't know if you can afford it.
We even saw how Anda was able to interact with the ult to re-engage attempt from Fear. He stepped in front of Takeover and took it with his clone. And it's just great interception and
that's
just
right.
good presence of mind from TSM all around. I mean, we talked about at the top of the show for this series that Anda was one of the players that I personally was looking at. The amount of, like, how intelligent this guy is, it completely blows my mind. And he, one of the few members that won the first split of Proving Grounds with no org side of Viper. Man, you just see that the
Man is right.
Yeah, the fruitful engage attempt on the Tactical, he sidesteps one and the arrow, and he spell shields the other. You can see that the thought process was there from Fear, but all it does is just bullies Tactical for a moment away from the wave.
It would have been a pretty baller pick-off if they managed to make it work, but I like that they're going for these attempts, Mark, because, like we said, they have to. They have to go for these picks. They can't win it out in the 5v5 right now. And you want, especially Dragoon, just playing the side, seeing if he can 1v1. Problem is, hasn't been able to really get that significant lead you're expecting. He is even in farm with Soul, who's been keeping up beautifully in this matchup so far. And that means that Dragoon isn't really getting as much value as you would have hoped out of this pick so far.
Yeah, and it's just good presence of mind from Soul once again. You know, picking this Gragas, you can snowball in a solo lane matchup because you have enough burst, you have enough damage, especially with this type of build. But he knows that, at least for the 15 minutes, he's not that guy. They already got that guy, and Anda and Tactical ramping up. So all he has to do is not be the guy that throws away the lead and gives Fear an opening back into the game.
And I think, speaking of, I think it's about time we do another gold check between all of these players here, because the big thing I'm looking for, speaking of the guy, is Sketch here. And it's looking like that goal difference is about 2,000. A very sizable lead in favor of Tactical. Considering all the turret gold he picked up, it makes a lot of sense. But it also is a big part of why you can't 5v5 a Cincinnati Fear. Getting gold into Sketch's pocket is honestly priority 1 right now for Cincinnati Fear. Fighting for this dragon, because it's Infernal Soul Point, is priority 1, but it's also super dangerous.
Jenna Crystal Arrow, oh, good dodge from Soul, and Tactical sidestepping it as well. It's a field goal attempt from the side of Cincinnati Fear. Dragon has spawned, but TSM have the inside track towards the mid lane, so if they ever feel like they just want to concede the Dragon, they always can just run over to the mid wave, pressure the second tier turret. Blaze going Soul unbound mode, looking for Fate Steel, doesn't quite pop it yet. Soul maintaining the left side of the flank, Trickster flashing forward, looking for the
big sleep.
lullaby. It lands on the 3 members, can they capitalize? But Blaze can't walk in, because Soul is body checking him. He finally flashes forward.
Oh, he doesn't go down.
Enough damage onto Anda. Mia with the wild growth keeps their jungler alive. Takeover repositioning completely beats out Fear with the moves, but Anda finally falls and Trickster's still up. So now Fear can look to burn down the Dragon. TSM, or are they gonna try anything? Can they get back in? Dragoon is so low on HP. A body slam flash.
Nice.
It's not enough. Trickster secures the Dragon, but Tactical goes gold and takes out 2. Another third one, and TSM win out big.
Fear stopped the Soul Point, but Mark, it costs them everything. They get aced at 19 minutes here, and the only saving grace is that Baron is not on the map yet for TSM Academy to take. And I like the idea here. Trickster, he has to go for the big sleep, and realistically, it looks like it was going well, but see how they're separated. Big Emperor's Divide there from Takeover to make it harder for Fear to actually go for the 5v5. Had he not done that, this would have been very different. And it means that even though you secure Dragon, again, the ace comes through for TSM Academy, and you're honestly no closer to coming back in this game 3.
Oh, just this stopwatch was so clutch from Tactical.
It was.
Yeah, the flash forward and then going golden. That's a wild rift play if I've ever seen one. I'm not gonna lie. There's so many times you see people go in, throw out a big burst of damage, and then just immediately go golden. It's a bait, because then it just throws Fear off, because the first thing that registers in their mind, Sivir just flashed in, kill her. Oh, and then you finally realize, oh, she's golden, and you've already put yourself in a position that compromises your current setup. So now TSM find themselves 8,000 gold ahead of Cincinnati Fear. Yes, the Dragon, as you stated, was taken by Fear, so it's still 2 dragons away for TSM to claim the Soul. But if the fights continue at this rate beatdown, there won't even be a Soul to contest for, because TSM will already have ended the game.
No, very likely not, Mark. And you can see it in the itemization. Big damage dealers, 2 items versus everyone in Cincinnati Fear's 1 and change, depending on who you look at here. Oh,
dear God, dear God.
Good.
Sketch, no flash, no ghost. It's just the Gale Force immediately popped in exchange for not even on the hunt. It was just the Chirelias from Mia, because they know that any opportunity to catch out the backliner for Fear, and they can take so much off the top.
That's right. Aaron, with the gold lead they have, is absolutely on the table. You get a major member of Cincinnati Fear down, and at this point, you're just trying to wave clear as much as you can as Fear, and seeing what angles you can take. Again, Enchanted Crystal Arrow, or a Swirl Seed into a Lilting Lullaby from Trickster. That is what you're looking to play for here, and that's the way you get your pick that you need to fight.
The way that has to be manifested, though, is so difficult for Cincinnati Fear, because you can look for a long-range engage, but the only person that can realistically follow up on the damage necessary is Blaze. Soul Unbound Fate Seal, but, you know, Blade of the Ruin King going for the tank build, he's not going to have the burst damage to completely take out a squishy character that is picked off by one of these engage tools. So for Cincinnati Fear, it's more likely about waiting to use their tools until TSM get up close and personal and try to pick off a frontliner or someone that is threatening to dive the backline. But even that itself is such a difficult task.
Tall ask, and oh my god.
Already the engage has been started off once again. They know Sketch has no summoner spells, so it's just easy pickups for Tactical to pop on the hunt off the engage from Anda with that Cyclone. Trickster already forced to use the flash, completely chunked out. TSM, yes, they lose Soul on the bottom side of the map, but Dragoon and Blaze It cost them being on that side, and now the Baron will be started up. It's going to have to come down to a clutch steal, and Dragoon and Blaze teleporting in.
Oh, Trickster has almost no health to speak of, no lilting lullaby. This double teleport, they know on Cincinnati Fear's side that this Baron could spell the end for them, so they're going to try anyway. With no ults to their name, it's going to be on Blaze.
Blaze still has Fate Seal, 2,000 HP. They don't have vision of it quite yet. Trickster can't flash in. It's secured by Anda, and Takeover comes in! Sweeps the rug right under the feet of Fear's solo laners, and it's easy pickings for Tactical once again to rip them apart. Plux is on the run. Anda has the movement speed. One more swift bonk, and that's the end of Plux's life. Sketch is able to answer on back, but what did it cost Fear? Look at the damage that TSM have exerted on the map.
It cost them the Baron mark, it's costing them turrets, and it might just cost them everything. Their life in Proving Grounds. Not able to steal the Baron, not able to walk away with any kill really when it comes to the fight around the pit, and all these spawn timers means what? Takeover is going to be able to take this tier 2. Mid, you have constantly pushing here, and it's just take for TSM Academy here.
And stepping up huge for this squad in Game 3, knowing how pivotal it was to play through the bottom side of the map, making and taking advantage of Tactical and Mia's priority and pressure they had put on during the early laning phase. It has now ballooned into a 12,000 gold lead at 25 minutes.
And I gotta say, just to accurately set up expectations, it's going to be significantly harder for Fear to make a comeback with this draft. 5v5 like they did in Game 2 is not an option. No Ornn means a big problem in this regard, Mark, as we know. So now it's just the Enchanted Crystal Arrow, which Plux misses. And that's the big long-range engage tool you're playing with this game. So once that loses and misses, you don't actually have anything to play for, even with this build and this insanely low cooldown.
All 5 members of Fear trying to defend the remnants of their base. They've been here before, but they don't have the tools like they did in Game 2. Most of them are on TSM's side. Blaze flashing forward, looking for the knock-up on the Takeover, but just not enough damage in the tank. The rest of TSM deal with it and defuse it easily. Dragoon flashing forward on the Tactical, but he just takes him out in his own death realm, sends him back to the fountain, and it's TSM that look to knock down the base of Cincinnati Fear, knocking them out of Proving Grounds and keeping their own lifelines alive in this tournament. TSM with a swift and dominating Game 3, quell any doubts from Game 2, and advance in Proving Grounds.
As if that game never happened, Mark, TSM Academy with roster shuffle after shuffle managed to bring it back together just in time to close things out here. And like you said, they keep their Proving Grounds lives alive, at least until next week.
TSM Academy have much to look back on and take with, you know, some good growing pains, but also things to look back on and really commend for themselves. I think Anda bouncing back and being able to really take command of this early game, and just, you know, this was a composition that TSM didn't need to necessarily play that aggressive forward. They had late game insurance, but Anda saw opportunities and windows to push the advantage forward, and you know what? That's the sign of a team that can grow forward and that can just be beyond a team that relies on late game scaling, right? You don't have to wait 30, 40 minutes to close out a game effectively. You can take those opportunities to just take the advantage you get and close it out efficiently.
Yeah, and I think I just want to echo your earlier sentiment, Mark, about Anda and how intelligent he is as a jungler. Not finding those openings, utilizing them to their fullest extent, and seeing how well it worked out for TSM Academy in that early game where things already got so quickly concerning for the side of Cincinnati Fear. And unfortunately, this time it was a game state they were not able to recover from.
Yeah, not only redemption for him, also for Tactical being able to put up a monstrous Sivir game. This time, all the threats were peeled away successfully, so he was able to just run free and tear down Cincinnati Fear. That is the end of the series, but it's not the end of the broadcast. We still have a moment to speak with one of the TSM Academy members on the flip side with Sierra after the break.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to our Verizon post-game interview. I'm sitting down with Soul after that 2-1 victory. Congratulations, though. Things were looking a little weird, to say the least, in that game 2. Right out of the gate, let's talk about that. What was happening that whole second half?
Honestly, I think we were just like lacking a little bit of coordination in game 2. We had like a pretty solid lead, and we were definitely in the driver's seat to close out the game. But well, myself in particular, I definitely like trolled game 2 really hard. I think I played really, really poorly, and was one of like. I'd say like I was one of the reasons why we couldn't close out the game as fast as we'd like, but I'm just happy that we were able to close out the series, even though we had like a rough game 2.
Well, it definitely seemed like there was a light switch when you hopped into that game 3. What was that big adjustment? Was it just, okay, stop trolling, you guys have a discussion? What was that? What happened there?
I think the main thing is in game 3, I was kind of like, well, my team is kind of smurfing, so I should just pick a champion, just play for them, just try to do less individual plays and stuff. Yeah, I mean, my team is definitely like really, really insanely good, so I just need to do my job and we'll win.
I'm glad you're saying that about your team, because it's definitely not going to be the most fun lower bracket run that we're seeing. How are you feeling about yours and TSM's chances going through that, up against FlyQuest next as well?
I think we have good chances. Right now, like, especially our performances, we're definitely not showing, like, we're definitely not playing to the sum of our parts. I think we each have very strong individual players, and with all the swaps going on, and with me coming back from LCS and stuff like that, there has been some struggles in terms of synergizing with the rest of the team. But I think a lot of that responsibility definitely lies on my own shoulders, and I'm just gonna try to play my best, look forward to the future series, and I'm sure if I play well, the rest of the team will play well too.
A lot to dive into there, talking about the roster changes and your time in LCS. We'll start with the roster changes. How difficult has that been, and how do you and the rest of the team kind of adjust around that? Because there's teams that have been together for a year, 2 years, and never made a switch.
I mean, it's definitely tough. I think that like play styles in terms of teams is like a very real thing, and I definitely got somewhat accustomed to the play style we were playing towards in LCS, and which is why I feel like more recently, like my performance in Academy should be a lot better than it is. I feel like from someone coming straight out of LCS, I should kind of be smurfing a lot more. But unfortunately, I haven't been able to show that. Hopefully, I'll be able to show some more throughout the rest of PG.
Well, hopefully there's a lot more PG for TSM to be able to play through and for you to show off that skill. But let's talk about your time in LCS. Was there any big takeaways or anything that really kind of stuck with you from your time playing there?
Yeah, I think people definitely are a lot stronger at laning, and I think I came back to Academy a stronger laner for sure. I think that the role of a top laner is also very different in LCS. Like, you're kind of you definitely have less agency, like in LCS, whereas in Academy, I feel like because people don't really kind of understand the game as well as they do in LCS, you have definitely a lot more opportunities to make plays and stuff. So yeah.
Okay, that's really interesting, that being able to come back to Academy now with that knowledge. And I'm excited for when we get to see that pan out for you, and excited to see you play it later on. Before I let you go, is there any shout outs or anything that you want to say?
Yeah, just shout out to all the TSM fans, all the supporters. I know that you guys, like especially the TSM fans, have had like a roller coaster season, and supporting me from LCS to Academy now, it really, really means a lot. Especially because right now, like, I've said it a couple of times, but I really do feel like I should be showing a lot more, and I'm quite a bit upset with my current performance. But we're all scaling. We'll get there, and hopefully, once we start, playing more as a team, we can really show you guys what we're capable of.
You'll get there for sure. Best of luck heading into next week. Thanks again so much for sitting down and talking with me.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, for us, we're going to head back to the desk, talk about that victory. I got to say, and I was talking with Prod about it, I was hoping for more from that game 3. I'm not going to lie. We had such a game 2, and regardless of how game 3 went down, I was really hoping we got a little something more, but TSM said, nope, we're going to bed. We're getting out of here. Good.
Correct.
Good luck. How
Yeah,
does-
it was definitely a pretty convincing win there in Game 3 from TSM Academy. Part of it was kind of tough to see how we were going to see the draft that particular draft play out for Cincinnati Fear. I think they tried to throw a curveball with the Mordekaiser in the top lane, but Soul answered it well with the Gragas playing the 1v1 so incredibly well, not dropping a kill in lane. I mean, it's a pick Soul played so much when he was on Immortals AoE, when Gragas top was like the pick.
The
And
bee's
seeing him-
knees, man.
I almost said that, but I didn't want to. But it was a pick that he would go for often, and it was nice to see him bring it back here in this Game 3.
Yeah, he even said
But
that.
real fast,
Yeah.
Rafa. I hear the words "bring back," and I'm hearing that we can bring back veterans. So we'll get him in here so he
Nice.
can join the discussion.
Boom.
Hello,
Hey.
welcome back. All right, Rafa, you may continue.
So, Soul mentioned that, hey, my team is already doing really well on the bottom side of the map, so I don't need to pick like a super flashy champion here. We talked about it in the mid game. He doesn't need to be that guy. He's just making sure
Yes.
that he's not throwing the lead. And Soul being a great role player in this instance, but we know that Soul has shown carry games time and time again. But just that's always the question with new rookie top laners. Like, hey, can you make sure that you are curbing the carry instinct, the desire to be the one flexing, and making sure that the rest of the team just carries the advantage forward.
And veteran, how are you feeling about the Game 3 and what we got to see go down there?
Pain somewhat. I wish one of the amateur teams was able to carry it all the way through today, but it wasn't. It wasn't to be. They put up a brilliant fight though, especially Fear, especially in that game too. That took a lot of mental fortitude to come back from. Wish they were able to throw it all the way, but yeah, like the Taco Gaming earlier, they have a lot to be proud of. And yeah, we'll definitely be seeing a lot of these players again for sure.
Definitely. And I mean, at least with the one win that we got to see coming out from Fear, Beatdown, I think that you're right on the money right now for amateur wins. I don't think that's
No,
where
I'm
things
out.
Wait, you're out? That was that.
It was
Alright, never mind.
7
You're
already
done.
going into the day. Oh,
All
wow.
right.
Just that. You just throw me away that quickly, huh? That's crazy.
Boo, you suck. Prediction so wrong.
Oh, your predictions again?
We're wrong. I wasn't the
Yeah.
most wrong. All right, that one goes to Mazel, not me.
True.
All right. Moving on. It is the last day of the week, which means we do have our Samsung Fast 5 as our players
Oh, snap.
race towards the fastest objectives. And this is a place
Oh.
where amateurs actually really pulling their weight. I'm talking about Ginger Turmeric across the board, Rafa.
I mean, Ginger Turmeric is based as hell. I mean, look at this. We got
Facts.
Michael Wixie Fernandez, second fastest 10K gold lead. Absolute Giga Chad. Duo King, fastest item transform on the second one, Giga Chad. Captain Shrimp's fastest mythic item completion, Giga Chad. Keel, yeah, he's third. This is pretty good. Fastest level 6. I mean, he's Shaden and Perry, got work cut out for him, but AoE GT still in the upper bracket, still have plenty of games to maybe not only knock themselves further up on the stats, but also put themselves further and further in the upper bracket.
Yeah, it's exciting stuff, that's for sure. And I mean, being able to see this Fast 5 and see just how amateur stacked it is, it makes me excited, even if we didn't get to see the most from amateur today in terms of moving on within our bracket. That being said, we do have our updated bracket sound. We're going to start down at the lower bracket, the sad bracket, the one that you always look at and you feel a little bit of pain here. But these teams, at least the matches, are normally pretty fiery hot because they're battling for their life, veteran.
I mean, I wish there were some more amateur teams down there, but I hope Taco Gaming and Cincinnati Fear lost to the eventual winners, and I really liked Soul's interview. He definitely is a great guy, and he's definitely very humble, and I hope he does really well against FlyQuest. But yeah, good luck to all the teams down there.
Good luck is for sure, but there is at least amateur in our upper bracket too, and I mean, it is no surprise who we're talking about in these upper semis as well. AoE Ginger Turmeric going up against Cloud9 beat down.
Yeah, and this is obviously just going to be their greatest test yet. I believe Cloud9 being that third seed, being a team who I think, especially at the beginning of the year, because some players in amateur actually got to sub for them for just a little bit while they were sorting out their roster, taking time for them to really gel, I think, as a team and making it to that third spot. They're a team I really think are contenders for winning the whole thing alongside Team Liquid Academy. So it really doesn't get any tougher for AGT. If they win this series, Sierra, I actually don't know what I'd do.
The other thing too, I want to jump in real quick. If
Yeah, go for
AoE
it.
Ginger Turmeric beat Cloud9 Academy,
They're
they
top 4, no?
Yeah, they not only guarantee top 4, they guarantee that they will come to LA. And that would be the first time that we have sent an amateur team alongside the academy teams to a Proving Grounds LAN.
One more win.
That's spicy. I mean, they're going up against such a stacked opponent in Cloud9, but honestly, that's the same thing that I would have said going up against 100 Thieves, and we all got to see Thieves get knocked in. So, you know, anything can happen out here. It's been a wild, wild ride, but unfortunately, we're putting the brakes on it for this week. It has been a really fun day. Thank you all so much for tuning in. Veteran, thank you so much for joining us. It's been a lot of fun having you on the broadcast.
You're very welcome. Very fun to be here. Good luck to the Geo Kingdom. Get there to LA, right? It's practically Worlds.
Academy Worlds, baby.
It's
Sir.
practically as well. Beat down fellow Canadian. It's always I might make fun of you, but I enjoy being on desk with you. It's been a nice throwback.
Thank you. I enjoy it too. It's nice to be on the desk with you again, Sierra. And I think the other thing that I always remind myself when you make fun of me, it's how you show you care. So, you know, we take those.
All right, we're moving on. Rafa, it's been a lot of fun. Can't give away the secrets, man. Rafa, it's been a fun time. It always is. Fantastic job. Some good smiles, and gonna see some familiar faces back here next week. Make sure everyone tune in. We're gonna be starting off next week, August 16th, with the lower bracket still, because there's a lot more teams to get rid of. I could have presented that so much nicer. There's a lot more teams fighting for their spot to make it into the finals and claim their spot. Thank you so much, production, for being amazing. Kelsey, you're awesome. And thank you so much, everyone, for tuning in. Have a fantastic rest of your evening and a safe weekend.
Peruvian stay winning. Let's